All right, welcome to another edition of Baseball for Maniacs. This one, we're going to go over the winter meetings, kind of recap it. Me and Ryan, ready to go?
Yeah, so we already talked about a little bit about Diaz and Schwarber, so we're going to talk about them briefly. However, there was another big one that happened right after those two, and I'm not going to lie to you, Owen. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
Let's let you vent on Pete Alonso signing a 5-year, $155 million deal with the division rival Baltimore Orioles. Have at
Now, I guess if I had to like pick a reason to not be super mad about it, it's because I kind of respect the Orioles. I've been to Camden Yards. It's a beautiful ballpark. The I was there as a Sox fan, and the fan base was very nice to me. I had a little friendly jabs back and forth, but nothing serious. Nothing really came of it, obviously. But good fan base, good people down there. But oh my, Craig, what are we doing? What are we doing? You said you wanted to go get like one or two bats, the two biggest bats that wanted to come to Boston. They talk like Schwarber wanted to come back. I'm sure he wanted to come back. He
it.
would have if we offered him as much as Philly did. And Pete, don't even get me started on. Actually, you know what? I am getting started on Pete. Here we go. Pete Alonso would have been the savior of the Boston Red Sox franchise. We would have went to the World Series if Pete Alonso was in that lineup. It's a power bat that nobody has an answer for. He's hitting 45 in Fenway over the Green Monster. You could have sold so many season tickets. You could have sold so many jerseys. You could have made so much money just by having polar bear merchandise. If you had a polar bear in a Red Sox jersey, do you know how much money that would make? Like, and not even just talking about the owners. Like, screw John Henry. It like I I don't know what the mindset is. What are we doing? Craig, you talk all this shit. Oh, we're gonna go get a number two starter. You get me Sonny Gray? We're gonna go get a big bat. I swear to Jesus, if our big bat is Isaiah Jackson, the guy we just got back for Vaughn Grisham, he has. I want to throw something. I want to put a hole in the wall. I want to break my TV. I want to rip up my Red Sox stuff. I don't know what is the mindset. Are we that locked in on Bregman? Do we think we have a shot at Tucker? Are we that far up the Diamondbacks' ass about Ketel Marte that we didn't even fathom for a second that Pete might go somewhere else? This is incompetence. This is severe irresponsibility on Breslow's part. I don't typically get into the whole Craig Breslow's an idiot conversation because he's not. But in the sense of Pete Alonso not coming here, and in the sense of not even making a good enough effort to make Kyle Schwarber wait another day, Craig Breslow, you are an idiot.
All right. Do you want me to piss you off a little bit more?
Go for it.
Gotcha. So this is just a report. I don't know how factual it is. I go on X, and for the most part, I know it's credible or not. Not sure about this report. From what I heard, the Red Sox offered him a 3-year, $85 million deal with an option for the fourth for 35. Don't know if that's player or a team option, but that's still lower AAV than what Baltimore did. And in my opinion, you have to have a grasp on what his market is. That's your job as a president of baseball operations. And if you had a grasp, you wouldn't have offered him that. It's like it just doesn't make any sense. Um, in my
It's
They got to get Bregman. They got to bring him back. If their mindset is okay, we can only get Bregman or Alonso, and they get Bregman, okay, because then that's a mandate from John Henry. Because there's only so much a GM can do when he has a budget, right? But there's certain off seasons where teams have to strike, and that's what I think Boston is. They're coming off a really good year, a lot of young players. The young players are going to ascend. Roman Anthony, Abreu, if he doesn't get traded, Sadel Rafaela, one of my favorites. He's like Johan Rojas on steroids, literally. Pete would have been such a great fit in Boston. Put him at first. He could even DH. What he would do with that monster, and now it's funny he's going to Camden Yards where left field is like 500 feet away. He's still going to hit his bombs. It's I'm disappointed for you. I'm happy he's out of the NL East, so we don't have to face him. But man, he would be a perfect fit. They better go get Bregman.
it's like I I'm sorry for stuttering. I'm just angry
Dude,
because it like he like I have guys that I think the Red Sox are gonna go out and try to get now, but we'll talk about those idiots later. We're talking about Pete Alonso. We're talking about Big Meat Pete. We're talking about the polar bear.
The biggest dork
And
of all, but if you're a dork that hits 40 homers, dude, sign me up.
oh my God, uh, if I go again, it's just gonna be another like 2 or 3 minutes of me yelling.
Or I'm gonna take it from Baltimore's side. Baltimore, way to show your cojones. After last season's complete not getting enough starting pitching, wasting a year of that young core, the owners, which is new because they got new ownership from the previous ones, one of the worst owners in sports, they said they could spend, and they're spending. They went after Schwarber, and I said if they really wanted him, they should have offered more. But they offered 5 years, 150. That's a big boy move. And then they pivot to Pete. And what does this mean for Mountcastle? I think he's going to get traded. But you put Pete in that lineup. I saw a projected lineup, dude. Him, Gunner, if Adley stays, Sam, the catcher, Cowser. They're going to be a really good team. Now, I do think they need to go get some starting pitching because if you don't have starting pitching, you have nothing. We saw that with the Mets, and we're going to get into our beloved New York Mets later. But overall, love the move. I'm happy Pete got his money because the way the market was last year, it's like it was between the Mets and the Angels. The Blue Jays were in it. Dude, Pete Alonso is going to hit you 35 homers. He's going to have an 800 OPS. He's a baller, dude. And for as much as I hate his antics, if you put him in any lineup, he's going to produce for you. So I think it's a great move for Baltimore.
I it's not that I don't agree with you. I think this is perfect for Baltimore. I've said it a bunch of times in a couple of episodes that they're not going to be as bad as they were in the
Got it?
previous season. And yes, they do need to go get some starting pitching. Ranger's still out there. Framber's still out there. So you
I
never know.
I think they're going to go get Ranger Suarez. So
I guess we'll see. But let's talk about a different form of disrespect that we've seen before I blow my top again on Craig Breslow.
let me blow the top, pause, off the Cincinnati Reds and Pittsburgh Pirates. So, of course, everyone knows there's an incoming lockout probably after this season, 2027. And for the most part of the community, you and me are a part of, like the baseball savants, the nerds. We understand what the Dodgers are doing is not bad for baseball. We realize the problem lies with owners such as the Pirates owner and the Reds owner, to where they're not spending money. That's the problem. The Cincinnati Reds offered Kyle Schwarber a 5 year, 125. I already said that was not enough, but whatever. But the report came out that the reason they did that was to boost ticket sales because he's an Ohio native. Cincinnati grew up there, and they're not going to go after any big free agents anymore. So that 125 they offered, you know where that's going? The owner's pocket. And man, if I was a Reds fan, I would just be pissed because they got a great fan base. Opening day in Cincinnati is a sight to behold. And now you're just gonna not spend any money when you had a team that just snuck in their run to the playoffs, even though it might have been the worst team to ever make the playoffs. 2023 Marlins will rival that. The city was alive, the city was fun, but that is the time when you got to not put all your chips in, but go get a star, go get one star on the market, and they could have been in for Pete. They could have gotten him. They could be in for Tucker. They have the money. Every owner has the money. The revenue they make, there's a split of like what percentage teams make or spend of their revenue. And the Reds and Pirates are like almost dead last. And then the Pirates offering Kyle Schwarber that it's like I said in the previous episode, it's not they never wanted to sign him. They just wanted to show that they're in the market so the other owners don't come down on them when the CBA negotiations come up in next December. And it's just I don't know how you fix it because, business, Rob Manfred works for the owners, but that's what's killing baseball. These small market teams, and I get it. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, they're not going to be able to compete with the Mets and the Dodgers in revenue. That's just unrealistic. But you can spend some freaking money. So, but the Pirates got Gregory Soto, Phillies legend and Mets legend. So everything is fixed in Pittsburgh. But this is just for any Reds and Pirates fans. I'm sincerely sorry. I still think the Reds will be competitive. The Pirates aren't doing nothing. But yeah, just give me your thoughts on two of the worst owners in Major League Baseball.
I really couldn't have said it better myself. Like, am I upset that the Dodgers keep going out and getting players? Yeah,
Yeah,
but if it was if the Red Sox were doing it, I wouldn't be mad. Just if the Phillies were doing it, you wouldn't be mad.
I'd be ecstatic.
You know, it's like when they went out, they get Bryce one year, and then they go and get Trey. Those are two really big names. Those aren't just
$1 million contracts.
exactly. And it's like people weren't pissed off at them when they signed the both of them. So why is everybody just getting mad at the Dodgers for playing the game right? You know, I understand wanting to build up through your organization. I understand wanting to trust the guys that you drafted, wanting them to develop and wanting them to become those star players. But you get one or two star players like per draft almost at this point. There are hundreds and thousands of prospects out there, and a couple of them that could be stars probably even aren't going to get drafted, and they're probably not even getting Division One, Division Two looks because some of these guys they come out of nowhere. They're just hard workers. You know, they're just grinders. They're first guy in, last guy out. It's frustrating because the Reds have so many good young stars. Whether you want to just solely focus on Ellie, I like Spencer Steer. Noelvi Marte is a very very fun player, and
He gotta love him.
I've talked junk on Matt McLean before, but he's still like a pretty exciting guy to have in your lineup. He's a speedster. You can plug him in anywhere, and he's going to give you average to above average defense, and he gets on base.
Yeah.
That's just what you need. The Reds are knocking on the door of being a contender in the National League. They're on the doorstep of it. And yeah, Kyle Schwarber would have been huge. But the idea that the only reason that you went after a guy is for ticket sales. That is such a slap in the face to not only Major League Baseball, but more importantly, your fans. You got to think about how much money Reds fans are pouring into this organization. And you said it, Cincinnati is a great sports city. Whether you want to talk about the Reds or you even want to talk about the Bengals when they're good, Cincinnati always has fun. We want to talk about the college. The Bearcats always do good in NCAA March Madness time. They're usually a good basketball team. Their football program's on the rise, but they're always fun to be around. I lived in Indiana, not that far from Cincinnati, for a couple years of my life. It was always a lot of fun. I used to watch the Reds games when Joey Votto and Brendan Phillips and Jay Bruce were in the lineup. That was a fun organization to watch. And yeah, the ticket sales were probably at an all time high because they were winning. They were getting into the playoffs. You're not going to sell tickets if you're not winning. Have you seen the Oakland Athletic Stadium?
Dude.
Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not even going to talk about the Pirates because they've done nothing but just piss on their fan base since they let Andrew McCutchen go. They were
Yeah.
like, all right, see ya. They traded Cole to the Astros, which was a great move. I don't know why that didn't work out for them. They didn't re-sign Kutch. Even if you want to go deeper into that lineup when they had Jose, I hate him, but Jose Tabata, or even if you want to talk about a guy like Pedro Alvarez, like
Yeah.
those guys were exciting bats to have. You don't bring them back and you don't replace them, and you sit in poverty for years and years and years and years. Like you remember how bad the Orioles were, like they were in last place in the AL East forever. Same thing with the Astros. And look at the Astros now. They went out, they spent some money on some guys. Yeah, some of the guys were top picks coming out. You can't always get an Altuve. You can't always get a Bregman. You can't always get a Correa. They went out and got Garrett Cole. They went out and got Justin Verlander. And they went out and became the best team in baseball. You don't do it with the guys meddling around in the minor leagues. You do it by getting the guys that impact everything already. You don't do it on projection. You don't do it on hope. You do it on reality. You do it on stats. You do it on what happens right this very second. Kyle Schwarber is an immediate impact player for both of these guys. The Reds win the Central with Schwarber. The Pirates sneak into the wild card with Schwarber. They have the pitching. They need the bats. Like, yeah, hey guys, we went after Schwarber. Go get somebody.
Yeah. Go get your guy.
Go get him.
And then the last point I'll make is really just this is more for the red side, and this is kind of a generalization for all teams that are on the cusp. that is when you go get a leader, that someone's good in the clubhouse, like a Kyle Schwarber. And even though I make fun of Pete Alonso with all the Mets turmoil, it wasn't his fault. He was a good leader. So you bring someone like that to grow with the young kids. That's why Boston got Bregman, and look what he did for those kids up in Boston. And it's just, we're going to get on a tangent if we continue talking about this, but I'll just end it like this. These owners, one, they'll never watch this podcast. They'll never watch the big podcasts like Talking Baseball, because they're okay with making a profit and just living a lavish life. And that's what we kind of have to, I don't know how we're going to do it, but like get those kind of guys out of baseball. And we're not asking them to spend like the Dodgers, spend like the Mets. Just spend something, dude. Um, but that'll go into our next topic too. A team that does spend, one of the Philadelphia Phillies rivals. Atlanta Braves picked up Robert Suarez today on a 3-year, $45 million contract. I love this move for the Braves. I hate it because obviously, it helps the team in the division, makes it harder. But they re-signed Iglesias. I think that was like one of the first moves of the offseason.
Hmm.
And he was terrible up until like the end of June. I actually went to a Braves game in the end of June, and that was right when Iglesias like went off. And the rest of the season, he had a minus lower than 2 ERA. So they re-signed him, but their bullpen was lacking. Robert Suarez is going to be their set-up man. So you got two reliable guys that can help you win back in the back of a game. And the Braves, I think, are going to be a problem. Last year and in 2024, they were crippled by injuries. If their starting rotation stays healthy, they make a few other moves like shore up the sixth, seventh inning. Doesn't have to be great guys. They're going to be a good team. Of course, it depends on their lineup. Does Ozzy Albies come back, have a great year? Does Matt Olson continue what he's been doing? Does Austin Riley go back to 2023 Austin Riley? There's a lot of question marks. But what the Braves are doing, they're saying, okay, we're still going to compete to where if those guys do have a resurgence year, if they are healthy, they could win the World Series. I still think the Phillies have the edge over the Braves, but I would not be surprised if the Braves pop out 98 wins and we're fighting for a wild card.
Yeah, honestly, the Braves have always been one of the better teams in baseball when they're healthy. But that's
Mhm.
always been the big thing. They got to be healthy. We've always seen it. Acuna going down with his injury, Strider needing surgery, the rookie pitcher Smith. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but Smith Schulster or something. Yes, him.
Yeah.
I almost called him Smith Schuster. That's a football player, but he got hurt early on in the year. They have the guys to be contenders for a very long time. They've been very smart with re-signing these young guys. They've been very smart with getting them these team-friendly contracts so that if they get into a position to go out and get somebody, they can absolutely do it, just like how they did it with Matt Olson.
Yeah.
Michael Harris is an elite center fielder who's going to be an elite center fielder for a very long time. I don't need to say anything about Ronald Acuna. Ozzy Albies has been a consistent stay in Atlanta for a very long time, and he's probably not going anywhere anytime soon.
Not with that contract.
I guess their only hole really would be on that right side, left side of the infield at shortstop, because you still have Austin Riley, who can be a top 5 third baseman in baseball. Yes, I said top 5.
He has
And
been basement.
yeah, and
But yeah.
yeah, and then even Sean Murphy, who does have potential to continue to be a top 10 catcher in baseball. It's like, I love Sean Murphy. I love the roster that the Braves have. I want to see the Braves be a good team again. I know you don't, but I would love to see the Braves be a good team again. It makes baseball fun.
I would love for it to be competitive, like throughout the entire season, and then we win the division. And this is just another point. If Phillies fans, and I love all you guys, if you think we should go win a wild card instead of getting that first round bye because you're upset that we've lost when we had the bye, that is the biggest loser mentality. Give me the 5 days off, get me to the NLS, and let's go actually win. But yeah, this goes to our next point after the Robert Suarez thing. Another Braves move. I think this was yesterday, and this is going to go into a whole tangent about Harrison Bader, Brenton Doyle, Phillies options, whatever. But they signed Mike Yastrzemski, probably botched that last name. 2 years, $23 million, and I texted you about it. I'm like, That's interesting. Does that mean Ronald's going to get some time at DH with his injury? Is he going to play right? Because obviously Harris is locked down in center. They got Profar for another 2 years. Another PED guy. I'm not going to go on my PED tangent because it's like Big Barry Bonds guy. But when I saw that move, I was like, crap, dude. Bader's not coming back to Philly. If Mike Yastrzemski is getting 2 years, 23, he had like a 730 OPS, and he's an average defender. What does that mean Harrison Bader's going to get? But before I go on the Bader Doyle thing, what do you think of the moves for the Braves getting Yastrzemski?
It's smart. Yaz is probably one of the biggest Nepo babies in all of baseball. When you're the grandson of Carl Yastrzemski, Boston Red Sox legend, mind you, you're gonna get looks and you're gonna get paid. That's no disrespect to Mike Yaz. He's an above average outfielder. That's the reason he got the contract. I do kind of agree. Maybe they move Acuna to more of a DH type role, but you can't deny Acuna's arm. And I mean, his athleticism is just one of the only things that keeps him in the outfield. He's not the best fielder in the world, but he can get to everything
Yep.
really because he's so fast and he can make any play on like an extra base hit or tagging up or whatever you may have it. His injury concerns are probably what's going to keep him in the DH spot. Because if I'm Atlanta, I'm not going to risk my star outfielder blowing out his ACL playing a ball off the wall. I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
So it's smart, but I I'm very interested to see what this is for Bader's market. Like he's going to probably get almost 17, 18 million a year now.
I think he's going to get 3 years, 45. And if I'm Philly, I do that just because we've talked about it like numerous times how much I love Bader. And at worst, he's going to be a gold glove defensive center fielder. Everyone says, the back of your baseball card doesn't lie. And for the most part, I agree. So what Bader did last year is not to the back of his baseball card. But Topper talked about it. Dombo talked about it in the end of year press conference. He made a swing adjustment when he got to Minnesota. And he was pulling the ball more. He was more aggressive. And he had a career year. And I'll go back to the point. It's just like there's certain guys that just fit. He fits in Philly. He fits anywhere in a winning culture. He was with the Mets in 2024. He was with the Yankees in 22 when they went on their playoff run. St. Louis, he was in a bunch of those. He's just a guy to where I feel like you have to recognize that and you have to slightly overpay. Now, if it does get crazy and it's like 3 years at like the 17, 18 AAV, like you said, there's only so much John Middleton can do. And that brings me to my next point, like the pivot is Bretton Doyle from the Colorado Rockies. And everyone on my TikTok has just been eating me alive because I'm a big Doyle guy. Also, Jack Fritz is a big Doyle guy. One of my favorite podcasters. Watch High Hopes. Um, Doyle in 24, one, he's the best defensive center fielder, maybe behind Rafaela, in all of baseball. And he's in Coors Field where that outfield is huge. So at that point, you're getting one of the best defensive center fielders, even if he doesn't hit. He's Rojas on steroids. In 2025, he struggled, but I think at that price, because he's still like in his pre-ARB years, he's not going to cost a lot to where you can go out and make some other moves. You could re-sign JT. You can add a fourth, fifth starter. You can get like a Pete Fairbanks in the bullpen. And that's the kind of guy you make the trade for at his lowest value. That's such a Dave Dombrowski move. And I would love to see Bretton Doyle running center field at CBP if Bader doesn't resign. Bader's my first guy I want back. Then it's Doyle. And then screw it, let's give Rojas another shot. But that's my opinion on the Doyle situation.
Yeah, I like Bretton Doyle as a player. Like
Mm.
he's elite defensively. He's very very fast. He's gonna steal you bags, and he's gonna be consistently getting on base too. He's not somebody that's gonna strike out a bunch. He's not somebody that's gonna
He's a
just be.
grind.
Yeah, he's gonna get you five pitches minimum most of his at bats, and it would be huge if Philadelphia went out and got a guy like him because that's somebody that you can legitimately build your outfield around. It's not like a rental. You would keep Bretton Doyle for years because he's only what 24.
I think he has 4 years of control, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe three. But
Yeah,
even if,
yeah. I mean, either way, he's younger than the both of us, I think.
yeah, that's
So
crazy.
I hate that, but it I'm not gonna go on a tangent on this, but like every time I see a player that's like a couple years younger than me, and they get like big star money or they start getting accolades, I'm just like, you you suck.
Yeah.
Because that's
I'll,
just my
once Aiden Miller comes up and he's 21 years old right now, dude, I'm buying his jersey and I'm at CBP going like an animal after him.
yeah.
Uh,
Like I'm getting older now, and I'm realizing that I never had a shot to be like those guys.
no,
But
yeah,
when I was younger, I'd see like if I was 24, 23, I'd see like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old making their debut, getting a contract. I'd be like, scumbag.
yeah.
No, but either way, Doyle would rule the outfield in CBP. He would run those gaps like it's nobody's business. I could see him jumping into the bullpen to make a catch, honestly.
Oh yeah, he could do a la Aaron Rowan break a nose. Um,
A la the guy who fell into the bullpen at the Red Sox Phillies game a couple years ago.
dude, I
So
think you were. I was texting you because I was there watch every Phillies game, and I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" And you're like, "Dude, someone just like completely like ate shit and fell."
so funny story about that. My dad and I were going to that game,
Mhm.
and we were running a little behind. So like we got caught in Philly traffic. Anybody who's driven in Philly knows about Philly traffic. So we got caught in Philly traffic getting to the game, and we're parking. We're listening to WIP, getting the thing, and nothing's happening. And we're like, okay, what's going on? So I start checking Twitter because that has everything. And what do I see? Fan falls into Red Sox bullpen at Citizens Bank Park, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, is he okay? And then the realization just hit. We didn't miss a single thing about this game because this guy fell into the bullpen. If we missed it, if he didn't fall, we would have gotten there top of the second. But he fell in. We got in top of the first with 2 outs.
Okay.
So
Oh,
we didn't really miss anything. So hats off to that guy for staying alive. Thank you,
yeah.
actually. So like, thank you for surviving that. But also, thank you for busting your ass into the bullpen. You saved me and my dad a couple valuable innings.
And tickets are expensive, so
They
you don't
are
want.
indeed.
But basically, that was just kind of the bigger moves. We're going to get into some of the lesser known signings that happened because I'm sure you guys are interested. If you are coming to this podcast, you care about every single transaction, as do we. Kyle Finnegan re-signed with the Tigers, 2 years, 19 million. I think there's incentives that can get it up to 20 million, whatever. I think Kyle Finnegan. I always wanted him in Philly, like at the trade deadline from Washington, because we always lit his ass up when Kyle Finnegan came in a game against us, I was licking my chops as if I was going to the plate myself. But his stuff plays. He throws hard and he has a wipeout slider. He would throw his fastball way too much in Washington. When he went to Detroit, they had him throw his slider more, and he had a very, very good like 2 months with Detroit. Fizzled out towards the end because he had a high usage rate. Obviously, never pitched that deep into the playoffs. Obviously, because he's from Washington, they never made playoffs. Um, but I like the deal for Detroit. I didn't think he'd get a 2 year deal, but that was just the market. Good move for Detroit to bring him back. I like the organizations that make a trade. It works out and they resign him. Bader, but I like this for Detroit.
Yeah, because Detroit's another one of those teams that really could break out of the AL and become the team that is really going to be the World Series contender. Because the American League is very wide open right now. There's not like a definite number one team in the American League, in my opinion. If you look at the NL, of course, you can say the Dodgers, you could say the Phillies, but either way, there's no definite number one. And the Tigers could take that number one spot. I don't know exactly what their bullpen is looking like these days. I don't know who's closing games for them,
They,
but yeah, I think you're right, actually. But either way, it seems like they had guys go right at the right time. So I think they need to go out and get another bullpen guy. I would like to see them make a trade maybe to go get one of these big name arms. The way
Mhm.
that the Padres went out and got Miller, the way that the Phillies went out and got Duran. I
Uh,
think that they could go out and get a big name closer. I mean, I'd hate to see him go, but I could see Chapman in a Detroit uniform.
well, he resigned with you guys. Remember that 1 year?
Yeah, no, I'm saying though, like if we get at some point later into the year, maybe he doesn't
Oh,
look that great, and we don't have that much options in the bullpen. But I could see Chapman being moved to Detroit to be like their lockdown guy if he's any similar to how he was. But either way, good move for Detroit. He was exactly what he was exactly what they needed him to be. He
Yeah,
wasn't elite. He wasn't bad. He was exactly what they needed. He got them innings. He got them outs, and like you said, wipe out slider. And if he could just get a better command on that fastball, he really could be elite.
yeah. And then the next guy, a little lower tier, Hobie Milner went to the Cubs, lefty, from Milwaukee. I like that move for them. I would have also liked Milner with the Phillies. He's an old guy, but he found his stuff last year. You just need a lefty that's going to go get lefties out, and not like a Jose Alvarado, not like a top lefty, but someone in the sixth or seventh to where if you're facing a team like Philly and Schwarber and Harper's back to back, you put him against them. He wipes them out. He does a job in the sixth or seventh. If your starter doesn't go too far, I like that move for the Cubs, but not a needle breaker.
Yeah, that's the thing. Anybody who played MLB The Show 25 Diamond Dynasty knows about the new threads Hobie Milner, and for me, he's really hard to hit. I could never hit Hobie Milner in the game for some reason, but in real life, he did pretty okay as well.
Yeah,
And this is what if the Cubs are going to be competitive, they need a competitive bullpen. And you can't. It's like I've talked about Justin Steele before. I'm not a really big fan of Justin Steele. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm a casual. I don't like him. I don't think he can carry a rotation by himself. I would have liked to have seen the Cubs make a play on a starter before they kind of go out and fix their bullpen. But,
yeah,
there's still a couple names out there that they could go get. I haven't really heard any starters linked to Chicago just yet. But we got a long way to go till February, so there's a lot of stuff that could happen here. But I like it. Like you said, every bullpen needs a lefty. He's not a hard thrower. He's a contact pitcher kind of guy. He's gonna get you ground balls. He's gonna get you weak contact. And in a ballpark like Wrigley, it's good to get that kind of it's good to get that kind of play. Excuse me.
yeah. No, like the wind's going and stuff. Like it's either blowing in for the pitcher's benefit, or if it's blowing out in Wrigley, dude, every fly ball is just sneaking out of there.
You better be on.
Yeah, but and then a signing that just happened that you told me right before we started, Lane Thomas, 1 year, 5 million to the Royals. I'm gonna jump in on this because I think this has decent ramifications for the Phillies. The Royals were linked to both Bader and Castellanos. I think this just nobody wants any piece of Nick Castellanos, and I get it. I mean, I watched him for 162, and I think this is just leaning towards the Phillies are just going to have to outright release him. I don't think anyone's going to eat anything. You're not even going to get like a bottom 30 prospect in their organization. You're going to have to release him. I do like it to where the Royals got him. Maybe they're out of Bader, maybe one less team, because the Royals needed outfield help. Lane Thomas is not the answer. I remember when he like went off with the Nationals and he was a trade target, and the asking price for him was just out of this world. And I mean, I'm a Phillies fan. I was in the middle of like, we're in a pennant chase. I'm like, go get your guy. Thank God we didn't. He's not a bad player. He's exactly what he got, 1 year, 5 million. But Cassie's gonna get released. No one's trading for him, and we'll see what happens. What's your thoughts on the Lane move?
Yeah, because the Red Sox were pretty. I think they were in on the Lane Thomas train when he was when he was on the trading block. I think the Guardians ended up making a move for him, and he
Well,
ended
dude,
up.
the grand slam against School in the game 5 of 24. So I mean,
Yeah, so like he was exactly what they needed him to be. His ceiling at the time was ridiculous. The way he was playing, I'm not even mad at the Nationals for the asking price that they had, especially
yeah,
when you like all the prospects that they picked up for the Soto trade. Why not add more? But you know, he he's a very serviceable outfielder, going to an outfield that needs it probably more than anybody in baseball.
yeah.
That's a very weak outfield in Kansas City, and Bobby Witt needs some help. Is Lane Thomas going to be the Robin to his Batman? No, but he's definitely going to be the bridge to maybe get that. I know they're high on Jack Cag, and I don't really know what else they're looking at free agency wise. Cole Reagans has been linked in trade talks to the Red Sox, so I don't know what they're thinking pitching wise either. Either way, it's a good move for the Royals, and I'm happy to see Lane get a little bit of money because he deserves it. He's a good ball player.
Yeah. So, and that was pretty much all the news. So, me and Ryan are just I'm gonna talk about the Phillies. Not too long, just kind of like map out what I think the rest of the offseason is gonna be. He'll talk about the Red Sox, and then we will wrap this episode up. But basically, with all the moves, I mean, we went into the offseason with the Phillies thinking you got to resign Schwarber. I don't think that changes really anything. JT, apparently, Jim Salisbury wrote that the Phillies have an offer on the table. It is 2 years, $34 million. Jim Salisbury, I think, is a trusted source. So I think that that would be a good move. Obviously, 17 million for a catcher that had a 1700 OPS is kind of a lot, but I mean, it's just something you have to do when the catching market out there is just not anything of value. Um, and then going after that, I mean, you sign JT to 2 years, 17 million. Are you signing anyone else? Is Bader going to be too expensive? I think so. I just think, based on everything I've heard about the Phillies, their new additions are going to have to come through the trade market. The way they hyped up Otto Kemp at the winter meetings, you would have think he here, and I love Otto. If they trade Bohm, I think Otto, you give him a chance at third base till Miller's ready. I love that. But let's say you keep Bohm, Kemp can be Marsh's platoon in left or right, whatever. I think Crawford's going to get every day at bats, as he should. He's a top prospect. You don't platoon them. You see what they can do. And if he struggles against lefties, which he didn't in the minor league, then you kind of go to a platoon, whatever. But I think Bohm's going to get traded. I think Kemp's going to play third. I really think the Ketel Marte thing is a possibility. It's just going to be, are you willing to trade Andrew Painter? Because the Diamondbacks are looking for starting pitching in return. I heard they were linked with the Rays for like Shane Baz and Ryan Pepio, like a 2-for-1. That makes sense. Our starting pitching depth, it's really just Andrew Painter, because you're not going to trade Wheeler, obviously. You're not going to trade Sanchez. You're not going to trade Luzardo in a contract year. You're going to want to extend him. No one's taking Taijuan Walker contract unless you eat half of it, which could be an option because he had a decent year coming out of the pen, kind of starting like that hybrid role. So yeah, I mean, Ketel's the big thing, but I think Dave's just going to do a trade that no one expects because he's always done that. We weren't linked to Marsh in 2022. No one really knew who he was till he got to Philly. Um, Duran, everyone kind of knew, but Bader wasn't really on anyone's market. It was all about Stephen Kwan. Um, so I think Dombo's just gonna trade for someone that who we know, but like not that someone Phillies fans would think would be on their radar. I don't think we sign Ranger. But if we do trade Painter, we're gonna have to get another starter, whether it's like a 1 year free agent deal. I don't even know who. You're not gonna get Framber Valdez. He's just gonna chuck the baseball at JT's face when they get him next. Who even else is out there starting pitching wise besides those two?
Michael King's still out there.
Yeah, he'd be like a
Zach Gallen. He's still out in the free agency market.
interesting.
Actually, give me a second because I have the free agents on the next tab over on my phone.
Yeah, I think Allen would be just too expensive because I think he's going to want a 1-and-1 deal, to kind of rework his market for next year. Because if Gallen didn't like shit the bed this year, he would be looking at upwards up to 200 million, just like Dylan Cease.
Yeah,
So
Giolito's still out there. He was all right for Boston. Chris Paddock's out there. He used to be a top prospect.
I could see
Um,
like a 1 year, like $7 million deal.
yeah. Other than that, it's really those two and Michael King. Those are the big pitching names right now.
Yeah. So that's really what I think they're going to do. The only way Ranger ever comes back is if its market is just completely depleted to where he does a 1-and-1 deal, which I would love to bring him back on. But like, I would give Ranger 4 years, 100 million. I would do that. I don't know if that's the market's going to be, but I would love to bring him back. He's a playoff winner. So
So I'm gonna do my best to not yell at Craig again
mhm.
because I'm still pretty upset about Pete. But I'm not gonna go into major detail. I'm not gonna go into in-depth analysis on every single one of these players. But I got 10 guys
10.
that
Okay,
I
let's.
would like to at least see the Red Sox name involved in. This isn't in any particular order. This is just guys that I think we need to be involved in. Ryan O'Hearn, Kazuma Okamoto, one of the Japanese hitters coming over. He was posted not that long ago. Ketel Marte, Corey Seager, Jorge Polanco, Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, and either Ranger Suarez or Framber Valdez.
Okay.
Because what the hell else is out there, man? Like
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that we were linked to Seager. Cool. I don't know exactly where he goes. It's like if we go after Seager or Bo and we get one or both of them, it's going to be a lot harder to bring Bregman back. If we go out and get Marte, it's going to be a lot easier to bring Bregman back. Uh, I like Okamoto. I don't like Murakami, but I like these. I like the idea of a big contact power guy playing first base, and he seems like he's actually got a glove that he could use over there. Again, I would like to see Tristan Casas break out and be the prospect that he was supposed to be, but just the injuries, man. You can't necessarily predict anything. Ryan O'Hearn was a really big market name when the trade deadline was happening last year. When he got shipped off to the Padres, I was happy to see him go, but I'd love to see him come back in a Boston uniform. Because if I gotta yell about first base one more time, I think I'm gonna lose my voice.
Yeah.
Like,
They got Pete.
yeah, we should have. You're right. Yeah, but we were linked to Jorge Polanco for a couple of days, and then that seemed to like fizzle out of nowhere. Bo, we've been in discussions with since the beginning of the offseason. Bregman, please. Cody Bellinger can play first base. I don't really care about his outfield prowess. Put his ass back at first. We need it. Kyle Tucker, because why not? Just why not?
Dude, I don't
Like,
think Tucker's market is that big because I think it's the Blue Jays, it's the Dodgers on a short AAV. That's the reports, or no, high AAV short term. But I don't see anyone else because Baltimore already got Pete. Tucker's market may not be there. So,
that's the last time I'm gonna let you get away with saying Pete's an Oriole.
oh, I'm gonna
um,
keep saying all year, especially if he destroys the Red Sox.
Um,
Um,
his first at bat's gonna be a 450-foot nuke against the Red Sox off Crochet. I'm predicting it right now
over the monster.
over the monster, but it should have been in a Red Sox uniform anyway. If we need another starter, I don't see a world where Ranger Suarez. Sorry, I'm all befuddled.
No, you're
But
good.
if Ranger Suarez doesn't pitch in Boston, he could be the 3 guy. I would probably prefer him at the 2, but it'd be Crochet, Suarez, Gray. I
Lit him up.
prefer that a bit more than Crochet, Framber, Gray. But I'm not gonna complain if either or come here. I hope Framber can get his attitude under control because if there's a fastball that goes off of Narvaez's mask just because of some miscommunication, Boston's gonna boo him out of the stadium. But
Mr.
The Red Sox need to do something. We need to do anything. Whether it's the big trade that we keep talking about or it's the big signing with a couple of the guys out there that are still in the market, it needs to happen. Craig can't run his mouth about wanting to get one more guy and then both of the one more guys are no longer on the market. I don't know what his thought process is. I'm not an MLB GM. I don't know how this works. I didn't go to college for it. I didn't go to college at all. So maybe I'm not the smartest guy to be talking about how much money certain people should get. But what I do know is that Boston fans deserve a big signing. We've been nothing but loyal and patient. We stayed with the organization after the Rafi trade. We stayed with the organization after the Mookie trade. We're still waiting for the payoff for both of those. And it seems like we're not getting it anytime soon, and it breaks my heart. Craig, for the love of God, please prove me wrong.
Yeah, no, I mean, I echo all your sentiments with Boston. It's their time to strike. But that's pretty much gonna do it. I think we'll be back sometime. What day is today? Thursday?
Yes, sir.
We'll probably be back early next week. Hopefully, some moves come in. I think between now and before Christmas, there is going to be a decent amount of action. Obviously, not as much as the winter meetings. The winter meetings are what they are because once you get into January, it starts getting into okay, let's sign somewhere. Let's know where we're living for the next few years before spring.
Yeah.
But we'll be back. We'll probably post on the TikTok some ideas of what we want to do. We could do another Q&A. We've been talking about getting the Immaculate Grid on here because you guys have been asking for that in the comments. I got to figure out how to do that screen recording. I'm not a technical savant, but I can look into it and try. But yeah, do you have anything else to say before we wrap it up, Brian?
Yeah. Baseball for Maniacs is now on Instagram as well. So you can head over to Baseball for Maniacs. You'll find it right there. Probably just gonna be the same thing. We'll be posting clips from just the podcast episodes. Maybe we'll be doing some fun other stuff just individually between the two of us over there on Instagram. Probably gonna bring some of that stuff over to the TikTok as well, but with more opportunity and more rooms for growth, the more room we have to do what you guys would like to see. So, anything else you guys would like to see, drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a follow on the TikTok, follow PhillyFan3, follow R Baxter714 on TikTok, and Owen, until next time, brother.
All right, you have a good one, man. I'll see you.
You too, man. Peace out.
Later. All right.